game. That's right. We occasionally play games that aren't just the same ones over and over again. Tonight, we are getting ourselves into a game that I think came out last week and is the sequel, but to be clear, a separate story from the original. So if you missed the original, don't worry about it. But a sequel to a game that we played probably, I think it was like maybe 2019, 2020, and was an absolute banger of a stressful indie sci-fi RPG title. I had a great time with it and a terrible time with it, but also a great time with it. You know what I mean? It's that kind of game. It's called Citizen Sleeper, and specifically, of course, this is Citizen Sleeper 2. If you are not familiar with the world, the gist is this. You are a sleeper in this sci-fi futurist sort of, someone described it to me as post-war futurist world, which maybe that is the case. I'm a little hazy on the details on that part, but a sleeper is a robot-like creature that was developed by a particular corporation to do menial labor, horrific, terrible menial labor for their industry with the intelligence of a human being built inside. Now, instead of actually developing their own AI or something like that, it is instead a copy of somebody else's brain. Somebody else signed off on their sort of intellectual rights, if you will, into this corporation, which then used their brain scans to reconstruct an artificial intelligence capable of piloting this sleeper. These sleepers live terrible, miserable lives for however long they live them and for however much of an existence you call it living. And some of them, if they're lucky, manage to escape the clutches of the corporation that created them. However, those corporations want their sleepers back. And so they have two things going for them when it comes to escaping sleepers. Number one, they have trackers built in each one that allow bounty hunters to track them down, bring them back, or kill them if they resist. And number two, all sleepers are built with what's called planned obsolescence. That is to say, the robot bodies that they have been given fall apart over time if they are not regularly maintained by the corporations. And so if a sleeper manages to escape, they need to find ways of maintaining their bodies in ways that only the corporation is otherwise supposed to know. So with all that in mind, we are going to tonight inhabit a new story of a new sleeper attempting to evade another terrible situation. And so that's all I know about the game. I've deliberately, of course, not spoiled myself much else on it. All the only other things I know is that the story is not directly built off of the previous one, so you don't have to worry about like, oh, what happened to our first sleeper and the second sleeper, that kind of thing. All you got to know is kind of the world that we were starting off in, and that it is going to be a hard time. I'm going to tell you right now, this is not going to be an easy game. It is not designed to be an easy game. It is designed for you to always be on the precipice of losing.
For real?
But being able to sort of scrounge that victory from that loss, if you can help it. So yeah, thank you much for the 87 months. By the way, hop. Let's get those double huts and dances in chat, please, and thank you. So I know I get to help a younger twirlers on Thursday. That's fun. That's cool. Get a little leadership role, a little mentorship going. That's always nice. Let's get this game going. I have not added it to OBS yet. I was bad because it took me a lot longer to cook dinner than I expected, and so I'm kind of running behind on everything. But I also understand the game's loud. I'll fix that shortly. There we go. Not gonna lie, I kind of thought I'd have more options of some kind. But I guess I'm just going to have to turn down the game volume just the old-fashioned way, which is wrenching it via Windows. The OST is really nice, though. Yeah, no, I fully agree. And friends, as I'm starting this up, let me just say, the First Citizen Sleeper is excellent. If you haven't had a chance to play that game, it is like the perfect like Steam Deck experience. The game is wonderful. It is $6. I'd call it like a 20-hour play, and is very like infinitely replayable. There are like 6 different endings on that thing. There's DLC built into it. It's all very cool, and I highly recommend you check it out if you haven't already done so. Okay, let's get this thing underway. It's also, by the way, going to be a lot of me reading. Imagine Disco Elysium, but it's me. I'm the narrator. I'm the narrator boy. You ready? Let's get started. Difficulty, uh-oh. Tutorials on. Difficulty can be changed anytime from the pause menu. I think we'll go for just risky. The intended difficulty for those happy to be challenged. Broken dice cannot be used. Standard stress tolerance. Death incurs a significant permanent penalty. Yeah, I imagine that's how death work. The other game did not have a difficulty screen, which I find to be interesting. This one is decided to kind of play it out there. Oh, I see. Death incurs a significant permanent penalty versus dangerous death with some permadeath good times. Okay, so now we get to decide our class of sleeper. The first game had this as well. There are 5 stats in the game: engineer, interface, endure, intuit, and engage. It looks like each sleeper type has one stat that they're just not going to get anything out of, which is interesting to me. So the machinist does not engage. The operator does not endure. And the extractor does not intuit. Okay. Let's look at their let's look at their little extra stats here they got going on. Accrue stress to boost your crew dice. So your stress helps build your crew. Rally config, +1 stress, +2 to lowest crew dice. That's pretty cool. Accrue stress to reroll your action dice. Okay. And accrue stress to focus on action dice. -1 stress, focus, die, positive outcome. Cool. I'm going to try to go for an extractor. Sleepers are built to work on at the coal face of corporate resource extraction, often in hard vacuum environments. Extractors have a high level of physical endurance, but their confidence means they struggle with tasks requiring intuition. Their rally skill allows them to motivate those on their team, boosting their crew dice. Sleepers assigned to extractor work are often confident, self-sufficient, and have a high level of endurance. Cerebral and precise. Machinists are usually diligent, careful, and structured people. Oh, I do like that. Maybe, you know what? I've completely turned around. I'm going to go be a machinist. Let's begin. And also figure out where to best put myself. I think bottom left might be safer. Let's swing ourselves down here. In the moment before waking, the dark space before conscious thought, you struggle to find the pieces of yourself. Usually, these pieces come with a particular cadence, each appearing sequentially like the boot process of an old terminal. First, your body, artificial, compromised, but relaying sense data all the same. Then it's context, the breeze of air filtration, the soft contact of your birth in 0G. Then emotion, coming into focus, coming into your body, bringing with it that first instinct, the one that has framed your past 100 cycles: fear. But that familiar sequence does not arrive. Instead, you are unmoored in space, your body distant, your context silent, even your emotions somehow obscure and scattered. Among all that disarray, only one familiar thing arrives: the fear. It is a scrambled, panicked fear. The drowning fear, the falling fear, the fear that makes you reach desperately for any stable point. It is the fear that tells you something is wrong. Something is very wrong with you. Wake up, sleeper. The voice is whispered in your ear, an act that makes you suddenly aware of your head, pulsing in pain, your body rigid with tension. Sleeper, a familiar name. A mind copied, emulated, a body built, implanted. One person sleeping until their debt is worked away. Their double being made to work, to be consumed, and eventually to be destroyed. A proxy, an emulation, a sleeper. That is what you are. But you escaped. You remember that now. Broke free of your corporate creators, S and ARP, in search of a future. You cannot remember the details of your escape, but you know the fear has been with you ever since. All of a sudden, you remember you have eyes, and your eyes flicker open. Pale eyes and a pale face. Lane. The name comes with its own specific sensation of fear, one you recoil from instinctively. Sorry to interrupt, a sharp smirk, but this ends here. You search your mind for more than a name. Is this how you reward me for my generosity? Lane is leaning over your horizontal floating body, looking down into your eyes. I took you in, protected you, gave you a purpose. You try to look away to the corners of your vision to find something you understand. Your body does not respond. But I suppose that wasn't enough. He reaches into the pocket of his jacket and retrieves a small vial. This wasn't enough. The vial glitters. This object you know and you have known for a long time. Stabilizer, the drug that keeps your artificial body, your emulated mind, from inevitable decay. The only balm for your planned obsolescence. The liquid rolling in the vial fills you with disgust. So I mentioned before, these bodies need particular maintenance in order to continue to exist. And it is this medicine known as stabilizer that you need pretty much like weekly in order to survive. I'm not kidding. It really, at least in the first game, that's how often you needed stabilizer to be pumped in. And it was not cheap. Most of the game was you trying to figure out how to survive long enough to earn enough money long enough to then get yourself enough stabilizer so you can earn enough money to get more stabilizer so you can earn enough money to get more stabilizer. Did I say this game was stressful? Lane pockets the vial. But it would have been wasted on you now, after what you've done to this body of yours. He looks at you with a palpable disgust. Lane's eyes scan your body, and as they do, you become aware of the wires and tubes attached to you. Those that were meant to free you from your dependence, from the stabilizer and the control it grants Lane. They're free, you piece of shit! They don't need you anymore! The voice comes from somewhere behind Lane's head. It is a voice you know, but when you search your mind to try to understand why, you find only dizzying darkness. Shut him up. Lane barks the command, and you hear the sounds of impact, of pain from somewhere elsewhere in the room. You try to move your limbs again, and this time you feel a flicker, the twitch of a finger. You feel the extension and compression of synthetic muscle. Free, are you? Lane smirks. You were free when I disabled your tracker, when I gave you the stabilizer you needed. He scans your body with angry eyes. Now you aren't free. You are just broken. I had such big plans for you, Sleeper. I invested in you. Lane grips your arm hard and you feel a jolt of reaction. You will the arm to move. But you have ruined all that. Lane speaks louder over the sound of the struggle behind him. I will try to preserve your body, of course. I have my own uses for it. But your emulation... You feel one of his hands searching behind your head. He finds and grips the thick cable running into the port at the base of your skull. I will burn that out. Lane jerks forward, slamming across your body, then spinning away out of sight. You feel yourself rolling, the cables plugged into you, looping and wrapping around your limbs. Then you feel hands steadying you, pulling cables. You glance around wildly and see someone diligently unplugging you. You meet his eyes. Hey! He waves your hand in your dazed face. We need to move! Lane won't be out long. He unloops a cable from around your wrist. Sleeper! Help me out here! You blink slowly. Do you know this person? He leans over you and you feel his hands on the connector, flicking switches, releasing locks. Come on, come on, come on! He tugs the connector clear and he pulls you up. You see the room you are in for the first time, filled with tech and terminals, wires waving everywhere, all lit by big windows looking out at an impossibly bright, screen-filled street beyond. In the corner, you see a dark shape of a floating body surrounded by a glittering constellation of crimson baubles. Is that blood? Move! You're wrestled and shoved towards the door, which slides open in front of you, and then you are all out in all that brightness, all that movement, gliding hard towards some unknown destination. What are we playing? We're playing Citizen Sleeper 2, which, again, you're in for a ride, friends. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Yeah, there's a sequel, Vera. It came out like a week or two ago. I guess I keep saying that. I should just know. There's a very easy way to know, and I'm just gonna know. You know what I mean? Rather than keep pretending like I know, I could just hit this store page button and find out very quickly. It came out just under 2 weeks ago. It came out on January 31st. So there you go. We can look up things. I mean, the AI's made it harder, but yeah, no, it turns out. Anyway. You come to a stop in a dark alley, the one who guided you here pausing to catch his breath. He doubles over beside a massive life support unit that sends a lukewarm breeze across your skin. You stare at him, trying to recall anything about him. You notice his tattered jacket, his lightweight clothes. You remember this station runs hot, something about the power that flows through the place. He looks up and meets your eye. What's going on, Sleeper? He wipes sweat from his forehead and floats away in a swarm of spheres. Talk to me. Who are you? You see a concerned frown cross his face. Don't mess with me, Sleeper, that's not funny. He comes closer, eyeing you carefully. What station are we on? He narrows his eyes, waits for the answer. You close your eyes, trying to recall. You force your way through the dark to the image of a station. No, a city. Growing on the back of a vast set of hexagonal solar cells, shadowed by them. You open your eyes. Dark side. The word leaves your mouth like an exhale, an instinct. Before you heard yourself sound it out, you didn't even know it was there. He sighs. And me? Who am I? You see something like fear in his eyes. Panic, perhaps. You stare hard at his face. The slight upturn of his mouth, the intensity of his stare. Nothing comes. He closes his eyes and drops his head, putting a hand to his temple. A reboot. He's speaking quietly to himself. Lane interrupted the processing. He lifts his head and stares at you. We need to keep going. We need to leave. He turns and kicks off down the alley. Come on, the rig can't be far. You are led through the passages and serviceways of the station. As you are led through the passages and serviceways of the station, you try to recall your life here. The texture, the temperature of dark side feels familiar, but you struggle to pin specific memories to it. Focusing hard, you recall waking up in these passages, cycle after cycle, the rhythms of the station flowing over you along with the crowds. You recall desperation and the slow decay of your body that caused it. Then Lane, those pale eyes, offering you a glittering vial, stabilizer, the promise of supplying more for your work, a deal he locked you into like a cage. There your memory fails you, but in the dark beyond that moment, the residue of panic. There. Sorry, now I'm getting my audiobook mode. In the dark beyond that moment, the residue. Okay. There, your memory fails you, but in the dark beyond, that moment, the residue... There should be one more comma, right? There, your memory fails you, but in the dark beyond, that moment, the residue of panic, of fear, remains. Where's my clicker? You're right. Hold on, retake. You are Lane's prisoner, Lane's plaything. You shudder in the cold passage. Wait. Your guide holds up a hand and you stop your glide using the wall. Ahead, you see the tunnel opens up into a wide open bay with a few doors leading to cylindrical tunnels. The docks. They're watching the rig. He nods towards the docks and you see one of the doors has a couple of figures flanking it. One covered in ornate tattoos, the other with bright silver implants along their cheekbones. Utsuba. Lane's guys. He looks at you and shakes his head in frustration. All this. It's not coming back to you, is it? Something catches your eye and you see he's playing with a coin, nervously turning it over and over in his fingers. He sees you looking and slips it away. He places a hand on his chest. I'm Seraphin, all right? He looks pained when he speaks. Lane, he was our captor. Both of us. We did this so we could escape. We needed to reboot you to break your dependence on stabilizer. He pauses. You know what that is, right? You nod meekly. Oh, so we managed to clear our need of stabilizer? That'd be a big deal, man. That'd be a big deal. Hey, Ablaze, how you doing? But Lane interrupted me back there. The reboot didn't complete it. He sighs and shakes his head. We can still make this work. He looks back at the docks. I'll lead them away. You get the docking bridge open. If we make it to the rig, I know how to get us in. Hey, Zeldavan. Got that? He searches your face for a sign of recognition. Get that door open. He pats you on the shoulder. I know you can do this. Seraphin kicks off hard and glides into the docks. Over here, shitheads! He bellows to the guards as he barrels through. They immediately push off from the wall, giving chase. You wait a breath, then glide across the door they were guarding. You look, already panicked, at the tightly sealed door, its control panel locked out. You hear a shout from somewhere nearby. You need to get it open. During scenes, you may encounter skill checks, where you can perform certain actions using your skills. Like the dice actions you will encounter later, skill checks can have a positive, neutral, or negative outcome. The better the rating of your skill, the more likely you will succeed on a check. The odds of success are displayed when you select the check. You can see more info in the guide section of the pause menu. Okay, so I have more points in engineer than I have in interface. And so I'm going to try to break the seal using that, where I have a 50% chance of a positive outcome and a 50% chance of a neutral outcome, versus hacking the door, I have a 25% positive, 50 negative, or 50 neutral, 25 negative. Very, very similar to the first game, where, and you'll see the dice actions they were talking about a little bit later, but essentially, you got yourself different outcomes that you could use throughout the day that would help create these percentages. And then you would use those to try to do work, to progress the plot, to make friends, and to hopefully have enough food and stabilizer to survive in your new world. Excuse me. Have I been? I've been doing pretty good, you know. I work full-time as a voice actor these days. I have a house, if that's new to you. I now live in a house, so that's pretty fun. I got married, depending on how long it's been. I don't necessarily know in the last time you've tuned in. It's been a business. It's been a gig. It's been a world. Let's break the seal. I got a neutral outcome. So it wasn't the best possible outcome, but it was not a negative one. You shift to the central access panel and wrench it open. You scan over the mechanism looking for a weakness. Somewhere nearby, you hear more shouting. You reach in and grab the main latch, straining as you bend it outward. Oh, just about a year, so there you go. Bento's been around since 2019, so he's... Usually people, it's not been that long at the very least. Hey, Cuddly Bear. Wow, a lot of people are popping in for the first time in a while. Did Citizen Sleeper summon you from the deep? Is that what's happening here? because I'm very excited to have the opportunity to play this game again. I think it's really cool. Woke up for the sleeper, ironically. The seal releases, and you drag the door halfway open. It screeches in its metal frame as you pull. Go, go! Seraphin flies past you through the doorway into the docking tunnel. You turn to see the two guards approaching fast across the docks and quickly glide after Seraphin. Seraphin is already at the rig's door, inputting an entry code. The rig's door scissors open, and you both rush inside. Quickly! Seraphin grabs you by the arm and drags you up to the cockpit, the ship's layout hazy in your mind. He dumps you in a flight seat and straps himself into his own. You see him tap a series of buttons as he does, talking to himself. Come on. For what it's worth, Vulpine, I could very much catch you up on that game if you tune into one of those. Just let me know, and I'm happy to kind of give you the quick rundown. I promise it's not nearly as crazy as it seems. It's just one of those games that takes forever to play, not necessarily forever to catch up on the story. Seraphin, a shirtless appreciation hour. You know how what is it? Marisha Ray wears a shirt. Used to. It's been years since I've watched Critical Role. Where she's like sleeves are bullshit. Seraphin thinks that everything but the sleeves are bullshit. The rig's drive rumbles into life, and Seraphin slams a button on the console. You feel the force of the ship's acceleration as it pulls away. Are we human? Or are we the robot body? Hello, Cat Times, and everybody else coming in here. This game is we are a robot with an emulated version of someone other human's brain. We don't know that human. We just know that we have been cloned. Our brain has been cloned so that they could use it for their own nefarious purposes. We'll change after a story bit. Aw, man. As the ship glides into place on the connecting bridge, its automatic systems nudged there by the port's docking protocols. You feel a sense of relief. Is this, how's the music, by the way, relative to my voice? It feels a little loud, but let me know. The implication Abyssal, as best as I can tell, is, the humans that are that have been copied are currently like comatose, like frozen, cryogenically frozen, and that's how they're paying off their debt, by being like in a state of arrest. I don't know, man. It's pretty wild. They have to essentially they're working off their debt by being used to run robot bodies is the vibe I get. All good? Good. Seraphin burned hard out of Darkside, and you dropped in and out of consciousness in your seat as the rig made its way across the belt. But now, with this open space between you and Lane, you feel fresher, more awake. Seraphin breaks the silence. We're good, sleeper. His eyes don't leave the monitor, and you realize this part of your escape is routine for him. You and he must have docked this ship countless times in your work for Lane. The problem is, you don't remember any of them. We made it, he whispers, closing his eyes and letting out a sigh. Aphmau. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, why work one job to pay off your mortgage when you can work 300,000 jobs and then sleep through them, and then when you wake up, your debt's paid? He turns and you see a pained look on his face as if remembering something difficult. Have you said this exact thing to him before in this exact same situation? Are you okay? He looks at you, chewing one side of his lip, searching your face. Not really, he puffs. Seraphin reaches up, flicking through a set of switches in a practiced fashion, completing the shutdown. You watch, a little frustrated with your own uselessness. Running the rig, you realize, is just another thing you've forgotten. Thank you for the follow, by the way. Appreciate it. Can't believe Severance plagiarized. I gotta watch Severance at some point. It sounds like right up my alley, man. A clunk that runs through the walls of the ship is followed by a short percussive alarm tone from the pilot's console. Docking complete. Seraphin kicks off from his seat, twisting as he glides past you towards the back of the cockpit. His hands find the rails on either side of the door, and he pauses, facing into the corridor beyond. He turns back to you, backlit in cold cyan. We need a plan. He glances around. Lane's not going to let us slip away quietly. He sighs. Ah! Oh, that's a good stretch. We keep running. Seraphin nods. That's what it feels like, right? That we can never get far enough away from that shithead. You see a shiver run through him and know that he's suffered as much as you did under Lane. You don't know what's happening because neither do the writers. You're hoping that there's some sort of plan there in Severance? We bought ourselves enough time. He glances through the cockpit window at the blinking lights of the station. You may not remember Hexport, but I do. And there are plenty of opportunities here for us, if we can keep our heads down. He turns back to the corridor. That's what we'll do. He pushes off and glides towards the main lock, and you follow, pulling yourself along, hand over hand in 0G. Excuse me. We already emptied the tank on this thing. He slaps a hand against the ship's insides. So we need to refuel, and that won't be cheap. But if you and I know one thing, Sleeper, it's how to work. I'm gonna get myself reacquainted, see if I can turn up any old connections. People that might throw us an easy contract. You, he glances back over his shoulder. You keep out of trouble. Low profile, got it. Seraphin stops at the airlock. Stopping the reboot halfway through. He pulls a worn crew jacket from a locker and starts pulling it on. We don't know what that did to you. He jams an arm into his sleeve. I don't want you passing out in... He stops. It'll take both of us. Cool, Zelda-fan. Very neat. Seraphin sighs. I hate it when you're right. He grabs another crew jacket and thrusts it at you. Just put the damn hood up, will you? You take it and slip it on. Thank you. Seraphin nods. He stabs at the button to open the lock. The inner door hisses open and Seraphin glides through. Wait for a little bit, then leave. Anyone looking for us will be looking for two people traveling together. He looks at you in your worn crew jacket. A limited disguise for what is clearly a sleeper. We meet back here later. Any trouble? Same thing. Meet here. He surveys your disguise again and shakes his head. This is a shitty idea. He gives you one last look. Maybe find yourself something to eat. Suddenly you recognize Seraphin's instinct to look after you. A flash of a relationship now lost to the reboot. Catch. Seraphin throws a handful of something towards you. You manage to grab the projectiles, and when you open your hand, you see a stack of cryo chits. These should get you some food. We'll need some more for fuel and supplies. He grimaces. That means odd jobs on the station for both of us. Seraphin kicks off and glides down the docking bridge. Don't go too far, all right? He shouts as he leaves. Take it slow! And with that, he is gone, leaving the connecting bridge and heading into Hexport's docking concourse. You wait for a moment in silence. Think about Seraphin. It's hard to know what's going on inside Seraphin's head. Here he is on some hapless escape plan with a friend who can't remember a thing about him. You try to imagine how close you both must have been for him to agree to this thing, but it is painful to think about. That's all gone now anyway. All you can do is move on. Hey, Kata-chan, how you doing? You shake the thoughts from your head and pull the jacket tight. Let's see what Hexport has to offer. You kick off and glide into port. You want to try out voice acting? I'll tell you how I got started more than anything else was playing games like this and doing voices for all the characters and narrating and all that. Really kind of helped me learn what sort of voices I wanted to use and where my range and capability was. Welcome to Citizen Sleeper 2 Starward Vector. The game runs in cycles, during which you can perform actions with your dice. Use cryo to buy food, fuel, supplies, and items. Progress clocks towards new scenes and events. You can review tutorials at any time in the guide section of the pause menu. Okay, so we got this little chunk of a station called Hex. Yeah, so you can see here at the top of the screen, we have ourselves 5 dice that were rolled for us at the beginning of this cycle. We have a 5, a 4, a 1, a 3, and a 6. Those are the 5 symbols up here. We can use those to succeed or fail at various challenges throughout the game. Each cycle, we get a certain number of dice, and we can use those toward those challenges. As the game said, it can be things like a simple exchange of time for money, or for food, or for progress towards a new storyline or a new friendship being built. However, something we always need to keep an eye on are the following. Number 1, this, I believe, is our hunger bar right here. Or at least that's how it worked back in the previous game, which is we have to eat. Even though we're like the sleepers like create energy out of food, albeit not the same way that you and I do. We also frequently and consistently break down. Our condition starts to break over time, and it's up to us to keep ourselves in good shape. Now, they mentioned the fact that they did a reboot to break our like requirement for that, so I don't know whether or not we need to maintain our condition or not. I just know that that's kind of new to me. The rig is your ship in home in Starward Belt. While the rig is docked at a hub, there are multiple areas you can visit. Bunks use dice to reduce stress. Galley use supplies to regain energy. Other locations will unlock as you play. While the rig is in dock at a hub, your crew will also be helped to gather resources to contribute to the upkeep of the ship. You can choose which resources they should focus on in the crew task menu to the left. They have a random chance of acquiring it at the beginning of the following cycle. Hey, Falchion. How you doing? This clock is a cycle clock. It will progress towards an event each cycle. Its completion will trigger significant events. So this clock right here tells us how many cycles we have before Lane will appear and hunt us down. So whatever we need to get done, we need to get it done before this clock ticks all the way around. Now, there are quite a few spots here, so it's pretty good. But we gotta move. We gotta move. We gotta move. So I can choose to have my crew either source supplies, scavenge fuel, or take on odd jobs and gain us cryo. I like the idea of our fools getting some fuel. That seems like a good idea to me, personally. We can cook things. Oh, we can use supplies and turn them into food. They're typically saved for contracts, but when food isn't readily available, you've got to use what you've got to survive. That doesn't seem like a good idea. I think we're trying to earn supplies right now, and burning them on something kind of unnecessary seems like a bad idea. So we're going to go back to exploring this. And yeah, as Hop's saying, by the way, Zelda-fan, you don't have to tag me every time. I see all the words. I see all the words. Someone really hurt your throat? Well, I mean, that's the other side of it. You have to be able to understand and balance your vocal limitations, and understand when maybe it's not a good idea to do those particular voices if they do that much damage to you. Welcome to the character screen, where here you can upgrade and configure your sleeper. On the left, you can upgrade your skills to improve the skill modifier applied to your dice when you undertake an action. To the right, you can upgrade your push, the unique ability of your class. When upgrading your push, only one upgrade at each level can be active at once. You can configure which upgrade is active only while at a hub. So the idea here is that if I had two skill points to engage, I could either Select one of these two, huh? -1 stress focus on focused die, positive outcome, or +1 to affected dice. We also have the ability to increase our chances with each of these various stats, but engage is completely wiped out for us. We just have no ability to engage with the engage stat. Brain just lost the memory. There you go. Let's see the two options we have here. In Citizen Sleeper 2, you perform actions by assigning action dice to them. The higher the dice you assign, the more likely you will succeed in an action. But your dice will be modified by your skill. Your skill modifier for the action is displayed on the right and will reduce or increase the value of the dice assigned to the action. Like skill checks, dice actions have 3 outcomes: positive, negative, and neutral. Each action is also rated safe, risky, or dangerous based on the outcome it has. The more dangerous an action is, the more significant both its rewards and consequences are. For more information on dice action, so yada, yada, yada. We have 5 dice, and we get to decide where to put them in each spot. We have no points in engage, so that's a real bad idea. Should not engage on engage. Will not go well for us. But it looks like both situations here, we're trying to recall our connections with the people here in Hexport. Try to find ourselves some new jobs. We can either do chat to crews, which is a risky bet, but we don't have any points. So trying that will not go well for us here. I'll just show you real quick, just for fun, see how that goes. In this case, we lose 2 points on our dice anytime we try to do an engage action, because we're just not good at engage. And that gives us a 50-50 neutral versus negative chance. Whereas over here, Intuit, I think for us, is a net neutral skill. So a 4 here would give us a 25% chance of positive outcome, a 50% chance of neutral, and a 25% chance of negative. But it says it's dangerous, so there's a good chance we'd have a bad time with it. If we put a 6 here, meanwhile, there's no chance of getting anything other than a positive outcome. That's why 6s are extraordinarily powerful, as you might imagine. Let's also check out the Hexport Exchange. See here, meanwhile, we actually have a point in engineering, which means that our 4, for example, would turn into a 5, which gives us either a positive or a neutral outcome, which is pretty great. And so a lot of this game is kind of hashing out where your dice are best spent each day and figuring out where to go from there. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come over here. I'm going to drop my 6 into exploring the docks and see how far that gets us. You just progressed a clock. Clocks track your progress towards both positive and negative events. It can be filled by performing actions or by the passing of cycles. Ow, your head, geez, math? It was only 6 numbers. +1 or minus, or anywhere from +2 to -2. So we had a really good outcome on that because there's no other way we couldn't have. And we got 3 points toward this. If we want to finish this clock, we need to get 1 more positive outcome or a handful of neutral outcomes. So I'm going to pump this 5 in here and see if we can get another positive outcome. We did it! Because we got 2 positive outcomes, we actually finished the job here, and now a story thing is going to happen. As you are gliding across the docking concourse, you hear a scuffle. The noise of raised voices cuts through the conversation drifting out of the dockside shops. Glancing down an alley, you see a huddle of figures shouting back and forth. You spot one man in the middle of the group, surrounded, pushing the others back as they grab at the bag slung over his shoulder. You don't like the way this looks. But then again, Seraphin told you to keep your head down. I'm going to try to cause a distraction. I have no endurance, so I'm going to try to cause a distraction and see what happens. Neutral outcome, I'll take it. You look around for something that could break up the fight and see the thick cooling pipes running down the alley wall. You quickly try to understand the system and choose a valve to start spinning. As you do, the system begins to vent and sequence down the alley, violent jets randomly bursting into the air. There's a scramble in the alley, and you spot the figure who is being attacked drop down to the alley floor. Then your vision instantly fills with pale liquid as a jet of coolant jumps out nearby, missing you but sending you spinning in 0G. After a few moments, you manage to steady yourself. As you do, you see a clear alley, the assailants having fled, with one figure gliding towards you.
I suppose you think that was clever.
The man gives you a severe look.
You like to break up fights you didn't start?
He laughs.
That's gonna eat you up.
He shifts the large bags on his shoulder, weightless but unwieldy, in 0G. I was helping. The man laughs.
Well,
He shakes his head.
thanks, I guess.
He kicks off and drifts past you. You watch the man go, and then after a moment, he stops and turns back. He rubs his forehead, looking down as he does.
What's your deal anyway?
He sighs.
Maybe you are new here, but Hexport is no place for do-gooders.
I know what it's like.
To get beat up,
The man shakes his head.
Hexport's got real rough. Look, let's not hang around, all right?
The man pats his chest.
I'm Femi.
He unshoulders one of the bags and pushes it towards you.
Make yourself useful. Let's head.
You get the strap of the bag over your shoulder and follow him through the docks, gliding past the concourse towards the connecting bridges. He cuts down a side passage looking to check you are following. Then he stops at a docking bridge connecting to a dull green ship with yellow markings. You look out the viewing window at its odd catamaran-like shape, seemingly built from two separate hulls welded together.
Simple crash.
He says. You assume that's the ship's name. Like two ships. That's one way to think of it. I was gonna say, natural 20, like, Dungeons & Dragons has way more math than this. This is pretty easy by comparison. Femi, you bringing strays? A young woman, brightly dressed and stretching as she glides, drifts into the passage. She glances at you. No offense.
Nia,
Femi shakes his head.
this one.
He squeezes your shoulder.
Help me fend off some Hexport scum while you were busy sunning yourself.
Nia raises an eyebrow. I'm sure you can handle him, big brother. Her glib response hides the flash of concern that passes across her face. You can't tell if Femi noticed. Nia turns to you. Thanks. She smiles sweetly. And I'm sorry for my brother. She shoots him a glance. Just in general.
Nia,
Femi murmurs.
enough now.
He reaches over and takes the bag you were carrying. Nia rolls her eyes at you, but stays silent.
Factory Row wouldn't take these.
Femi hefts the bags.
I'm gonna load them back up. Maybe we'll find a use for them.
He turns to you.
Thanks for the assist, Sleeper.
He nods firmly.
Not what I expected.
He slaps the button for the bridge door and kicks off along the docking bridge on his way to the cymbal crash. Nia looks at you with raised eyebrows. I hope my brother was joking. Or did you really help him? I tried. Thank you. She looks back at the ship. My brother needs help more than he admits. What do you mean? She tenses. I don't know if... She smiles a tight smile. I shouldn't have said anything. She pauses, thinking. I want to ask you something. She takes a deep breath and gives you a direct look. What is she building up to? Yu-Gi-Oh's got more math than this, too. You're getting into math games all the time. Are you looking for a crew? She looks away. Sorry to be direct, but you seem, well, like if you're on Hexport, maybe you were with a crew? She stops herself. I mean, maybe your crew needs crew. Maybe you were looking? Sure. Why not? We got a new friend. I like friends. She struggles to hide her smile. Nia looks back at the ship, then at you. Look, I'll be honest. Being on a crew with my brother is nice, but he is suffocating me. She frowns at her own bluntness. I'm not a kid anymore, you know? But he still sees me like one. She shrugs. I want to show him I can handle myself. I need experience. I need to run some contracts. She gives you a determined look. What do you say? Think about it. I'm a good salvager, all right. You can use me. She smiles. I can spot things, find gaps, ways in. She folds her arm across her chest. I know what I'm doing. Femi taught me well. She glances back at the ship. Just consider it, all right? Let me prove myself. Suddenly, a shout comes from the ship, echoing down the passage. Femi, he makes both of you nervous. Nia looks in his direction. I should go. She pushes off towards the docking bridge. I'll be waiting. It is the noise. Yeah, whenever I hit the continue button, that's what you're hearing. Hi, it's Bean. How you doing? Nia gives you one last glance as she departs, then disappears into the docking bridge, leaving you alone in the passage. Wow, we got ourselves a new crewmate, potentially, apparently, I guess. Cool. And we only had to use 2 dice to do it. That's not too bad. Efficiency is the name of this game, friends. Choosing the pip is choosing what kind of die to roll, sure. I like grabbing him. I like just kind of nabbing him and figure out what I'm doing. Baked off the Spanakopita, heck yeah. Spanakopita's awesome. Got a citizen sleeper too. We could gamble. Oh, fun. Or we could buy a Ben's fry. A plastic bag of flash-fried, salt-flecked tubers. The Ben's fry brings spacers back to the scattered tables of the bar cycle after cycle. So I could exchange 7 of my cryo down here to buy myself some Frenchy fries. And I will probably later. But let's take a look what else we have access to here. Freight loading will kill me. The warehouses at the Hexport docks supply the industrial operations of the station, meaning they need constant loading and restocking. I am not an endurance-based sleeper, and to put a die in here, as you can see, would be real bad. Puff pastry is so tedious to work with. Hey, don't I know it? We made a Spanakopita for our baking series. And yes, I did make the phyllo dough by hand. It took a while. Most people in the British Bake Off just say, you know, just buy it. Just store buy the phyllo dough. It's not worth it, man. It's not worth it. It was fun though. It was a lot of work, but I enjoyed it. It was fun, you know, pounding it thin. We had a pasta roller that we got, and it was pretty fun. And it turned out great. I loved that Spanakopita. If it didn't take me 5 hours to bake, I'd make it more often. All right. So we're not gonna do any freight loading. That's not our character. That's not how we're built. So we're gonna go check out the other set of operations that we have access to here. Since I've got extra points in engineer, you can see here that I can throw in that die and get myself a little extra something. I'm trying to figure out what the glow means on that. Oh, it just means that we're not getting a negative number. I see how this works. So if the stat is here, it means we are not losing any points. Oh, I see. Endurance, engage is the problem stat we have. Endurance would be fixed if we just gave it 4 points here and got ourselves to a neutral position. Now I understand how that works. Okay. Regardless, it's a much better idea for us to be an engineer and trade some scrap here. So we're going to bump that 4. It becomes a 5 because I'm better at engineering. And we're going to give it a spin and see what we get. Positive outcome. We made a little bit of money, and we learned the rules of the exchange. Baklava, sure. Yeah, you just layer the nuts and dough. Yeah. You're just getting those layers over and over and over again. Sleeper Dance, that sleeper build. Hey, Susanna, how you doing? And because I'm an engineer, I can also probably trust to put this 3 in and bump that up to a 4. 75% chance of an okay outcome, 25% chance of a bad one. That 1 is sitting in my system like an albatross, though. Okay, so the downside is I got a neutral outcome there, but The downside is I lost money off that. Still a net gain from the first one to the second one. But I did manage to finish off the cycle here, or the clock here, which means now I will get another new scene. You've established a presence here, and the brokers seem to be a little more comfortable around you. New locations! We have the Hexport Canteen, which we can eat at the canteen. Most trade halls have a canteen where they prepare their own dishes from the packed supplies they otherwise provide. So I can spend 13 cryo in exchange for food there. All right, so now we have access to the exchange. Unfortunately, all of it is just buying. There's no other way for me to make money. Uh-oh, we're in trouble, guys. If the only money-making job is the warehouses there, I guess I could gamble. Gambling might be a safer bet for me, and I know that sounds weird. But I can't afford to take big damage over in the warehouse, man. What's this game about? We are a robot with a human brains, or with an emulated human brain trying to escape essentially our loan shark who's ready to kneecap us and put a new brain inside of us. And so we're trying to go from like space station to space station, trying to avoid him and survive along the way. So here's the situation where I have this one. Nothing that I want to do out there is really going to be good to roll a 1 on. So sometimes you have some very safe option you can do here where even a negative outcome won't be a big deal. So let's give this a spin and see what happens. A neutral outcome means I have -1 stress. I'm not sure if I had any stress to begin with. In fact, I'm pretty sure I didn't. But that's okay. The important thing here is that I'm not dying. What did you do? I went gambling. Let's go eat some food before I forget. I'm gonna go back to the Ben's and I'm gonna go buy some Ben's fry. Yeah! You squeeze your bag and crunch a handful of crisp and greedy radishes and potatoes. Not bad at all. Yeah, so I worked hard at the docks trying to move crates and stuff. What'd you do? I lost all my money gambling. All right. I think we've done well. I think we are safe to go to bed and end the cycle for today. One night down, let's keep it going. Oh, those are some nasty rolls. Oh, that's real mean. We're in trouble, sleeper. Seraphin leans into the bunks as you were getting up. Without further explanation, he disappears down the corridor towards the rear of the ship. You drift down into the passage, pulling on your clothes and glide down the length of the rig, the cool air making you shiver. Seraphin is a silhouette silently leading the way. He stops at the far end, diverting through his side doors, shooting you a glance as he does. You find Seraphin inside, holding one of a tangle of arm-thick tubes that are waving in the zero-G engine room. You know what these are? Tell me. These are the engine's feed lines. He waves one in the air. Before you ask, no, they aren't supposed to be waggling loose. What did you do? What happened? It must have broken loose when we pushed the ship hard on our way out of Darkside. He looks at the mess. We're lucky that the reserve tank is empty, otherwise... He shakes his head. It would have been bad. But... He pushes this pipe to the side. No feed from the reserve tank means that only the rig's range is limited to local region only. He thumps the large lumpen housing of the engine. This thing can't take us anywhere far. So we fix it. Seraphin sighs. That's the short of it. Seraphin whacks the engine housing again, harder this time. Just not been our run of luck. He turns and starts gathering the tangled feed lines, his frustration evident in the violence of his movements. We will need a new set of these, that's for sure. He starts forcing him into a crate. So how about you try to track them down? So I need feed lines, huh? I'll take a look at things here and see if I can figure out another fix for the reserve tank. He glances up from his work. From what I heard on Hexport, Factory Row's the place to find ship fitters. Maybe we can do some recon while I sort this place out. It's on the other side of the station. All right, I'll take a look. Seraphin keeps working. Wait. Seraphin pauses, seemingly unsure. There's something else. He drops the feed lines and they float, waving in the air like the tubular seaweed. I've heard word that Lane's on the hunt. He frowns. Message went out everywhere in the local radius of Darkside. He's looking for us. We can't leave. Exactly, Seraphin sighs. Which is why we need those feed lines. I'm gonna try working something out. Maybe I can improvise a solution, I don't know. He looks down. I'm no ship fitter. But while I do, you go hunting. See we can turn up, okay? He smiles a weak smile. Get going. You leave the engine room, the clanking sound of Seraphin's cleanup efforts echoing through the ship. Fuel feed lines. That's the next step. You take a deep breath and head out. Alrighty, you've discovered a drive. Drives help you track and choose your objectives in Citizen Sleeper 2. The arrow button in the top left opens the drive menu where you can choose which drive to track. Once a drive is tracked, a yellow marker will be placed above any location that relates to that drive. Drives come in two types, major and minor. Completing a major drive rewards 2 upgrade points, and a minor rewards 1. Keep an eye on the drive menu as you progress to see what new opportunities and objectives are available, and track those you want to pursue. Rig engine. So yeah, we need the feed lines to put in there. Understood. A new location, you say? Well, looky there. Yeah, no, essentially your body just kind of burns the food off and then turns it into energy a little bit. But yeah, it's apparently with an emulated brain of a human, you got to do human things or else your brain go crazy. Allegedly. Boy, none of this is any good, guys. None of this is any good at all. Oh, these terrible rolls, man. The factory owners of the row speak mostly in terms of supply and demand, but going door to door might help you find the ship fitter you need. All right. Positive outcome. Let's go. We're going to find ourselves a new gig. Thank God we found ourselves a new gig. Oh my God. I needed a new gig and I found one. It's like FTL where almost everything sucks. Yeah, it's so true. I'm proficient in engineering. Let's see if we can make some money. Neutral outcome. We lost energy, but we made 10 crypto. Not too bad. We're going to do that again. 75% chance of an okay condition. Positive outcome, 12 cryo for me. I'm just going to keep burning these dice on making some money here because money's always handy. Neutral outcome, that's fine. I'll take that. We made some good money, and I can go turn some of that money into food for myself. Not too bad at all. Buy fuel, fill fuel. Because, yeah, as you can see, all of these things cost quite a bit of money. AKA cryo in the game, for what it is worth. Which we need to go gather. So that's why we're running around. It's crypto traded on SSD sticks. That's pretty much true. You could go, let's go gambling! Aw, dang it. I'm going to go eat at the canteen this time, which gives us +4 energy. Okay, that's good to know. The fries give us 2 energy, but it costs us 7 cryo. The canteen gives us 4 energy for 13 cryo. I guess we don't have to keep feeding ourselves until we are actually absolutely down. I know that sounds bad, but it would save us a lot of money in the long run to not eat nearly as often. Do you guys know that's one easy, quick, or one weird trick to have a lot of money in your hand? If you just stop eating food. If you just stop eating food, you got plenty of money. Plenty of money, no problems. Money, money, money all the time. What happens if I put a 1 in something that I'm going to get negative stats in? Well, you can't go any lower. That's good to know. That's an advantage, I suppose. Yeah, you can also not have a house or shelter of any kind. Cancel the grocery delivery tomorrow. Save money. It'll be great. Well, that's the whole dying thing. Starving, dying, all that. Maid Stewart. I did not. You know. I should have read the. I should have read the flavor text. I love the flavor text. I live for the flavor text. I am flavor text. Hello, N-Kid Dusks. Again, highly recommend playing the first game of this series too, friends. It's $6 on Steam right now, and it is a good 20 hours if you don't repeat anything, and infinitely replayable if you try all the different endings. I've already gotten, I think, 3 endings in the game so far, and I'm probably gonna go check it out again at some point. There's not really any need for me to. I don't think I have any stress. Clockwork, you said you played this. For Rutabaga's sake, I assume the 3 bars underneath each die situation here indicates my level of stress, or maybe the dots on the top that are currently empty. Either way, I don't think I've incurred any sort of stress or damage so far that would necessitate me trying to rest and recover. Is that correct? Stress is the top of the map. Gotcha. So burning this 1 on that wouldn't really do me anything. And there's technically a chance of a negative outcome there that may not be worth trying to burn here. So I'm just going to end my cycle here and just not use that 1. It's not worth the damage. Potential damage, I should say. Dice health, got it. Now that is a roll. That is the kind of roll I like to see. And meanwhile, Seraphin's managed to get myself a bunch of fuel, which is awesome. So happy to see that. Don't have to worry about that no more. The negative for rest is just no recovery, yeah. Oh, I see. So even if I failed, quote unquote, it would still be fine, is what you're saying. I get you. Well, let's burn a 6 on this. Just guarantee the one more roll to get the trusted supplier clock done. Done. So we're trying to find somebody who can fix our ship, long story short. It looks like maybe we found the right spot. Factory Row howls as you glide through its cramped passages. Whatever its many bays and rooms once were, they now serve as containers for industry of every kind. Whirring manufactories precisely engineer components with rapidly shifting arms, while scrappers hammer incessantly at bent ship plates. Everywhere you look, there is energy and activity, and for good reason. Hexport itself is built on the derelict fragments of a solar reflector, and even the small amount of energy is generated by its remaining mirrors is enough to power a city of machines. It is familiar to you, of course, in a strange, far-off way because of Darkside. That place and your memories of it are a muddy haze, but it is hard to forget the glint of its hexagonal reflectors, 10 or 20 times more in number than Hexport's, and that wild, flickering city growing on their back like a tumor. In comparison, Hexport feels provincial, but deep in Factory Row, you could almost be back in Darkside. And then you see them. Tubes, just like those Seraphin had waved in your face. The feed lines. You push over to the display window of the unit marked Karsten's Supply in block capitals cut from hull plate. There, amongst an angled shelf of oversized ship components, sit the feed lines, like some large biomechanical tangle of snakes. You slip inside, where the sound of Factory Row is a little screened, and spot a large figure working at a bench. Hunched over, concentrating, it seems he doesn't notice you enter. You let him work, watching as, despite his heavy build, he delicately aligns the components, their layers slotting like puzzle pieces. After a few moments of observing the process, he turns his head a little towards you.
Can I help you?
His accent is heavy but unknown to you. Those feed lines, how much? There's a sharp clink as Karsten places his tools in the component against a magnetic plate on the wall. He turns with a surprising grace and begins cleaning his hands on a cloth. Those sharp eyes scan you, but Karsten's thick-set features do not betray the results of his assessment.
Custom built those. For a client that never collected.
He looks at his hands while he speaks, checking for stray oil stains.
You have one of the old MEVs then?
He sounds out the letters in a way you don't recognize as he speaks. You try to recall anything you know about your ship, but the memories elude you. Perhaps Seraphin should have come along. I think so. Karsten squints a little.
Right. Look.
Karsten drifts over to where you are standing, his imposing height evident.
For a fellow enthusiast like you,
He continues a distinctive monotone.
let's say a few hundred cryo and clean cheats.
He shoots a glance to the feed lines.
400, let's say, to be precise.
400?
400.
Karsten says back, repeating your question without the emphasis.
It's expensive, I know. It's a shame, but it's just what they are worth.
He screws up his mouth a little into something that might be a smile.
However, I'm more of the bartering type myself anyway.
Barter sounds good. Karsten nods sagely.
It's a little favor I need a crew for, and well, you look like you might be a good fit.
He tucks the cloth away in a pocket and clasps his hands.
I know of an old Solheim wreck out there. Very old, pre-collapse. He's tucked away in the dead zone, so no one has ever really cut it.
He shrugs.
Not only that, but Solheim derelicts have a habit of triggering nasty security protocols when approached by an unfamiliar ship, so it's been left well alone. But a salvager like you, with an old Solheim rig, I bet it wouldn't even flinch if it saw you coming.
He smiles.
I have a special interest, a need for that old tech. All those Solheim ships had a data core, and while I don't care about the accounting reports or material ledgers or whatever they kept on the damn thing, I do care about the hardware. So if I was to find you back here with a data core in your cargo hold, clean, cut, and complete, well then, I could see my way to doing a straight barter for those feed lines.
Karsten pauses, sniffs at the air again.
You just need the coordinates.
Let's do it. I'm not gonna... He has given me very clear instructions. I'm not gonna poke until maybe later.
All right then.
He holds out a heavy hand for you to shake, and as you automatically reach out, he grabs your forearm instead. Karsten pulls you closer, squeezing your arm. Your arm? Your arm.
Let's keep this one between us, all right?
He half smiles, his face huge and close.
It's our deal.
Before he can respond, he thumbs a little drive into your palm.
Those coordinates.
And then he lets go of your arm with what you swear is a wink. You take a moment to gather yourself, and by the time you do, a whirring fills the air, Karsten having returned to his workbench. You turn and glide out of Karsten's supply with a growing mix of anxiety and excitement in the pit of your stomach and the cacophony of Factory Row in your ears. A contract. Seraphin might even be impressed. You look at the drive in your palm and smile. This could be a route out. You think of leaving this place behind in possession of an improved ship, too. Suddenly a small but firm hand falls on your back, an equally small voice coming with it. Hey, wait up! Huh. Look at this one. You turn in the passage to see a young woman, her hair waving from the rapid glide she clearly just came out of to catch you. She steadies herself using your shoulder.
Sorry.
She smiles a quick and flat smile.
Wanted to catch you. I'm Junie.
Her dark eyes flick around nervously. You notice the portable terminal she carries, something data scrapers call a deck, and her backpack full of components and trailing wires. What's up?
Karsten.
She starts, still catching her breath.
He sent me to grab you.
She smiles that flat smile again.
Wants me to come with you on that job.
Her eyes shoot down to the drive in the palm of your hand. She smiles again. Why didn't he tell me? She glances back towards Karsten's.
I guess he forgot. He does that sometimes.
She looks sheepishly at you.
He just grabbed me after you two were done talking, so... Karsten's always sending me on things like this. I guess he wants me to help you out. Keep an eye on things.
She pauses.
I can be pretty helpful.
So,
So,
she looks around the passage.
should I meet you at your ship and you can tell me when you're ready to go?
Sure. I'm getting nervous about this, but all right. We got ourselves a little team.
Okay, great.
Her eyes light up. She knows she still has her hand on your shoulder and takes it off. Junie pushes off and waves.
Looking forward to working with you.
She calls back as an afterthought. What about the ship?
Oh, I'll find it.
She calls back and then disappears down the passage. You watch her go, glad of the contract, but nervous too. Will Karsten keep his side of the bargain if you deliver? I know I'm making a little bit nervous about that. I don't know about this, sleeper. Seraphin looks nervously out of the rig's windows as you finish explaining Karsten's deal as well as Junie's offer of help. This job was easy. Karsten would have done it himself already. That means there's a catch. He frowns at the stars. There's definitely something going on with this Junie girl. He shakes his head. She could be useful, though. No doubt. Seraphin shakes his head. And we desperately need help on a job like this. What if? Seraphin narrows his eyes. We could get the cryo together to buy the feed lines. 400 cryo is a lot of cryo in a short amount of time, my dude. I found a contract board of the exchange further in station. He gestures towards Hexport. They take on a job, might get us some of the way towards buying those feed lines. Plus, even if we do want to take Karsten's job, a bit of money to get ourselves prepared wouldn't be a bad idea. Fill up on fuel supplies, be ready for whatever comes. Take a look. Good. While you're at it, we might want to see if you can scare up some freelance crew, too. Seraphin shrugs. Many hands make light work and all that. Or if we stop messing around, we take Karsten's job right now and get it done before he can think twice. Seraphin yawns. Seems like a whole set of bad options to me. Either way, I've still got work to do on the drive. Seraphin nods a farewell, heading back to the engine room. Let me know what you decide. For a moment, you pause, letting the haze of plans and ideas settle in your mind. Suddenly, you curl up, pain shooting out along your spine. You grit your teeth, your muscles lock tight. Your vision narrows as you squeeze your eyes shut. You feel a shift, as if some connection is broken. It's almost impossible to describe. Like you're floating away from your body, dispersing, dissolving. There's nothing familiar in the pain, nothing to hold on to. You grit your teeth. And then another shift comes, and you're back in your body, trembling against the metal wall of the passage. The pain slowly fades, becoming a pulsing throb, and then a residual flicker. You flex in 0G, stretching out the tension. There's a strange sensation of distance that persists beyond the pain. A disconnection between your body and yourself, a flickering numbness that refuses to recede. You wonder if the reboot has done something to your body, or if this is some new sensation you'll have to live with indefinitely. It strikes you that you know so little about the body that houses you. Could be moments away from collapse, or it might persevere for countless cycles like this. You try to shake off the feeling, pushing your hands against each other until they feel like they're yours again. Time is the only thing you need, and right now, it feels like it's running out fast. You head for the airlock. You have work to do. Of course I do. I got plenty of work to do. I got so many more dice to use. Come on, man. Come on. Also, we got ourselves a point. I think we can't spend individual points, but it's good stuff. It's good stuff. You haven't been by their Discord to check anything out. Gotcha. The only thing I read about this game, other than general reviews being like this is good, is good, is that I think they said they were done with video games after this, and that the next Citizen Sleeper game is going to be a tabletop RPG. They're tired of this business. They don't want to be in it, and I kind of get it. So yeah, but it also shows you where their inspiration very much lies. I mean, these D6 rolls that we're doing very much play out like that, right? Anyway, the contract board that he was talking about, also Karsten Supply. So yeah, we have two options at Karsten Supply. We can either buy the feed lines for 400 cryo, or deliver the data core. One or the other. Oh, just the Citizen Sleeper IP. Okay. But when I initially read it, it kind of sounded like he was just ready to just like kind of move on to the tabletop scene, and I was like, have fun. And maybe play it. But I love being able to use the kind of tabletop devices to then, you know, like inhabit solo play like this. I mean, we just finished playing Disco Elysium, which very similar vibe in terms of that. Hey, Mason, how you doing tonight? Hope all is well. Okay, what do we got? Board contract. Let's look at the contract board. It's a risky one, apparently. Cool. Station management have located a Conway signal. They're concerned to see one so close and are looking for someone to disable its source. You can earn 200 cryo for that. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.